this year, they think it was probably rushed without enough testing, rather than a scientific achievement that happened quickly. And as protests continue across the country, the poll finds more voters see Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden is trying to calm the situation, while President Trump is perceived to be encouraging fighting. Mr. Trump has spent the last several weeks raising concerns about a potential spike in violence in the nation's suburbs.
Biden and the radical left's weak response has led to chaos and violence.
But the poll finds most people think it's not likely violent protests will happen in their neighborhood.
We do have two systems of justice in America.
Harris, who set the campaign in Wisconsin today, on Sunday also criticized Attorney General Bill Barr for denying that systemic racism is 7 days to go until the election, but Joe Biden is now legally required to start thinking about a potential transfer of power. By law, he's opening a transition office here in Washington, and that staff is going to be advised by a handful of interesting people, including one of his former primary rivals, Pete Buttigieg, and a few of the women that he considered to be his running mate, including the former White House National Security Advisor Susan Rice, and New Mexico Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham. Dana?
A lot of unity there, Ed, and I want to point out, Tony and I, we need the white wall.
Author David Rubenstein last week to talk about his latest project, How to Lead. Wisdom from the world's greatest CEOs, founders, and game changers. It's a collection of conversations about the qualities it takes to be successful, which we might keep in mind when we're picking our next leader.
For their ability to focus, their ability to communicate well, their ability to have some sense of priority of what's most important to them, their ability to inspire people, their ability to rise to the occasion. And I also think humility is important. Anybody that is really a successful leader, I think, has failed in life, and you have to persist after your failures. But failure gives you some play along and realize that maybe they don't have a sense of humor, maybe they have no humility.
How important is that? If you're a leader, you have to have some human interaction ability with the people you're trying to lead.
The ability to lead really gets down to the ability to persuade. There are three ways you persuade people. Orally, you can write well, or you lead by example. George Washington in Valley Forge in 1777, he could have stayed the Four Seasons down the corner, but he didn't. He stayed with his troops. He led by example. You want people that actually want to lead for the right reason. Do you want to lead somebody because you want to be famous, you want to be rich, or do you want to lead somebody because you're trying to do something really important? And I've observed in my book, in my interviews, that people that really achieve the greatest things are the people who discovered medical devices that are wonderful or cures for diseases. Those are the people that are happy. The people that aren't happy are the people that don't really know why they are on the face of the earth. You should realize in the end, you're on the face of the earth for a relatively short period of time, and the greatest happiness that comes about when you achieve things for other people, not for yourself.
If knowing why you're on the face of the earth is your driving, organizing principle, is that what drives you every day you get up in the morning? How do you work that into kind of a daily plan if you're a leader?
I think people that learn how to be leaders learn how to do this during the course of their life. And if you say, you know what, this isn't good, I'm not really talented, I'm going to just go back and sit in my office or sit in my house and not do anything, then you won't be a leader. But if you say, I learned something from this, I know how to overcome this, I can do this better in the future.
You said humility comes from having failed and learning to overcome them. So in that sense, it's kind of a byproduct. How does humility help if you're a leader prospectively?
Well, if you're trying to become a leader, I think you have to get other people to follow you. In other words, you can't say, I'm going to be a leader, and nobody follows you. You have to have people follow you. How do you get people to follow you? Well, you have to give them certain sense that you have a way of going somewhere, that you're going to take them on a vision and on a voyage that's going to be useful for them as well as for you. And to do that, I think you have to